questioning consciousness. Why are we conscious? What makes you, you, and me? It's probably one of the larger questions that multiple people across multiple disciplines around the world are trying to understand. And I think, if we're honest, the reality is we don't understand just yet the entirety of the picture as to why we are conscious. I sat back down with Reagan from Descending the Rabbit Hole podcast and questioned consciousness. It was a very cool discussion and very awesome to see such a young bloke like Reagan exploring these ideas and gaining perspectives and experiences to try and apply the knowledge that he's gaining at such a young age. So it was very cool to sit down with someone a generation before me and discuss these ideas and bounce them off each other. And it was a very interesting conversation. So I'm not going to mess around. I'm going to let the conversation speak for itself. Enjoy this one. Obviously, thanks to Jono for the intro, Craig Johnson Music on Facebook, and Rowdy for the music, Rowdy Strum Music on Facebook. Make sure you give them a like, give them a follow. Give us a like and a follow too, guys. Obviously, 5-star ratings on any app that you're on always helps us. A lot of cool stuff happening. Wheels turning behind the scenes. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. Be cool. And we'll talk soon. Cheers.
Today I sat in a field of paper daisies. The gentle breeze made the world wave to me. The day has come with a gold ring wrapped around it. I think I might just bathe in the sun. And I hope my world don't crash in over me, just like it did yesterday. I'm pretty sure the last mirror that I cracked was more than 7 years ago. And I don't want to wear those bullet holes no more. I want to kill my nightmare. And I've done nothing wrong to anyone. Then I just want to be better, better than who I am, better than who I am, better than who I am, better than who I am. Moonlit river flows by gently, like a potion made from the earth. It is healing all of my inner bleeding, even though it's only pictures in my mind. And I hope my world don't crash in over me, just like it did yesterday. I'm pretty sure the last mirror that I cracked was more than 7 years ago. And I don't want to wear these bullet holes no more. I want to kill my nightmare. Don't stick those pins in the dog that looks like me. I'm burning up. 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 I'm burning. Today I sat in a field of paper daisies. The gentle breeze made the world wave to me. The day has come with a gold ring wrapped around it. I think I might just bathe in the sun. I think I might just bathe in the sun. I think I might just bathe in the sun.
G'day everyone, welcome back. Regan's back with us, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, Trev. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming, mate. Well, this one was actually pretty much your idea. You got in touch with me and you wanted to question consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay, so those that don't know, Reagan is from the Descending the Rabbit Hole podcast. It's a newish little podcast out there. It's doing pretty well, and and I'm entirely behind these boys, so make sure you give them a listen.
Thank you.
So, questioning consciousness. Now, before, I know you've got a lot of stuff written down there, mate, and that's very impressive. However, I wanted to lay out my ideas when you said to me you want to come and talk to me about consciousness. Because one of the reasons I started this podcast was to communicate and discuss topics like this with guys like yourself. I mean, you're only 18. And, yeah, don't tell anyone, but I'm not getting any younger. I thought to myself, what did I think about? Because these questions have been running around in my mind since I was 18, probably before. And I thought to myself, I didn't have someone like myself when I was 18 to talk to about this. So I thought what we'd do is I want to go through your points there, mate. I want to go through the thoughts because obviously you've given this a bit of thought, yeah?
Yeah.
So you jump in, mate, and you just go through the thoughts and we'll just have a discussion. Yeah. Because I think it's a topic that I'm deeply passionate about, and we've done a few podcasts on consciousness up until now. This will be probably the third or fourth one we've done in the catalogue. So, what do you got for us, mate?
Yeah, well, consciousness is a big one. It's the one that got me into podcasting and made me want to start this, and it was the Evolving Consciousness episode of yours that got me into it, actually. Yeah. I told the story before. I had couple too many joints and went for a run and plugged it in and sent me into a bit of an existential crisis, but it also sent me into the rabbit hole.
Sometimes these things happen for a reason, mate.
That's it. Fate. So I thought, and I thought about it. I really did, because it's the idea of evolving your consciousness through knowledge and understanding. Yeah. And it made me think about the way I viewed things. And at that point, I was into the political issues, feminism and right and left, and I could see that I had bias in me because I wasn't looking into the other side of the argument. Yes. And so
the confirmation bias is an interesting one, especially when you come to consciousness, because you can get stuck in your own echo chamber, right? And you can get stuck in the ego of thinking that you know. Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? Whereas actually one of the biggest things that, I was only talking yesterday about it to another guy, if I was to pass anything on, it's actually, you got to understand what you don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Because getting stuck in what you think you know is, that's a trap there. You know what I mean? If you're not aware within your consciousness of as many options as you can take, and the thing is, you don't have to like them all. You don't have to agree with them. However, you need to explore them.
Take them in.
Yeah.
And if you don't look in the other side of the argument and look in the other sort of understanding of it, then you don't get a full grasp on the concept of it. And I think that sets you back a little bit in what you're trying to do and understanding that.
Most definitely.
And so I thought about that, and I thought, and I didn't really have much of an idea on consciousness previously. And so I got into it and I thought, all right, well, I'm starting on a clean slate. Yep. I'm going to look into it, but I don't want to, push away the whole spirituality and all that for science. And I thought there's deep meaning and there's deep purpose within the spirituality. Yes. And then the science, provides us an understanding. And I thought, the world that we live in is complicated, and it's magical in its own way, but we understand how that magic works through science, basically.
To a point,
yeah, to an extent. There's a lot that we can't understand, and it's a difficult thing. And so I thought, if I look into what powers us and how the body works, then I can understand. I can have a foundation of my understanding on at least the human body. And so I picked up I first picked up Brian Cox's book, The Human Universe.
Yes. Brian Cox is an excellent author. Yeah.
Oh, I love him. He's fantastic. Yeah. And I read that for a bit, and it was good. A lot of it was on physics and that, but I also then picked up a book by David Eagleman. I think it's David Eagleman. Yeah. And it's I can't remember the title. I think it's The Brain, The Story of You or something. Okay. And so he explains in it how the neurons work and how the processes work within the brain, and what powers all of that. And there's this one that he had little quotes at the start of the chapters, and this one quote on the start of chapter 2 that made me realize a little bit more sent me a little bit more deeper into it than I thought I would go. And the chapter basically says that everything you see and everything you notice is an illusion. You've never seen what the universe is outside of your eyes, outside of your brain.
Yes.
You know, and it's completely different to what we see. This is a filter, and he explains that 50% of what you see is what the brain expects to see, and what the brain sort of interprets what it's going to see.
Yes.
And then the rest, the other 50% is the photons being picked up.
Yeah.
And so he had, I think I watched a TED talk on it. And this fella, he had a picture up, and it was of a chessboard. And the chessboard had like a cylinder on it, and the cylinder was casting a shadow. And the first photo was one of the grey checkers on it, and then one of the white checkers, but the white checker had the shadow cast over it.
Yeah. And
you look at it, and then you look at them, and you believe thoroughly. Your eyes tell you that there's a difference in the color between the grey one and the shadowed one.
Yeah.
And then next up, he puts a grey bar over it and shows that they're the exact same color.
Yeah.
And he says your brain is processed and expects it to be a different color.
Well, it's black and white tiles. We see it all the time.
Exactly. And so your brain is sort of has this pre-understanding of it. And that made me think. That made me really question it, because you got these ideas. You take mushrooms and LSD. You see things. Is that your brain over-interpreting what it's going to see? And he had a little example of. There's a video showed of what happens when the brain does over-interpret, and it basically looked like a mushroom trip. People walking around, and you see a mixture of dogs and shapes and stuff everywhere. And that made me think, because what exists out there in the universe is just matter and energy.
Yes,
it's all it is, and
it's all energy, man. Yeah,
it's a outside is a very dull place.
Vibration.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. Outside there is a dull place, fairly boring to say. From a certain perspective. And so he explains that the way we pick it up and the way we do that is through our processes within the brain. And so I thought about it, and I thought, our consciousness and who we are, what makes us unique, what's the difference between, me and you on a deeper scale.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to look into. What you are is the way your neurons pass the information from your eyes to your brain. It's instantaneous. It's just it's the most complicated computer in the world that has somehow formed over years and years of evolution, and it's amazing. It really is, because if you think, you have your memories, and if you say
your memories technically. So there's a couple of things there before we get into memories.
Yeah,
because there's another pretty far out quantum theory where it's like, so you're looking at me. Right, so I see the world behind you, but I don't see the world behind me.
You, yep.
So does the world behind me exist?
Is that Schrodinger's cat theory?
Yeah, it's dead or
similar
alive.
To that,
it's not. It's very similar to that. Now, obviously, we know we're in the studio, we're in my shed. We've seen everything that's here.
Yeah.
So we know what's behind us. We know what's outside.
Yeah.
However, if we didn't know, we wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know, yeah.
There could literally be anything out there. And as far as it's something like we only perceive 10% of the light spectrum or something like that. So realistically, there's 90% of the light spectrum that's going on that our eyes, as amazing as they are, can't interpret.
Yeah, just not picking it up.
They're just not picking it up. So there is a world happening around us all the time that we are just not aware of,
and we don't notice it.
Well, we can't see it. So if you alter your consciousness, whether it be through psychedelic drugs or meditation, any of these things that can do that, what are you seeing? Are you seeing an extension of the universe that exists? Are you plugging into a higher consciousness? Are you plugging into the ether or the muse? It's a fascinating thing. You know what I mean?
Seeing the world from a quantum level.
Yeah. And memories are interesting as well, because they've actually, I'm pretty sure eyewitness accounts pretty much don't count anymore. Don't count in court anymore.
Oh, really?
Because it's unreliable.
Yeah.
Like when you remember something, you're telling a story, and this actually tripped me out. You're remembering the last time you told the story.
Yeah.
You're not actually remembering the event.
The event itself.
Right? And it's like Chinese whispers. You would have played Chinese whispers as a kid.
Yeah.
You get, 15 kids in a circle. You tell one thing. By the time it gets to the other thing, it's gobbledygook.
Something different, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no one... And that's just how we interpret things and how we see things.
Mm.
I'll be interested to hear, though, because as far as I understood it, they know how the neurons fire, all that sort of stuff, but they don't know what powers us.
I read into that, and I could be wrong because I didn't read deeply into it. I just searched it up, and basically they explain that it's something to do with in the cells, the mitochondria, and they say it's something like a hydrogen pump that basically connects the positive and negative energy together, like a battery, and then somehow that electronic sort of creation sends neurons, and that there is what sends the neurons throughout the body, and then they can carry messages. And how they carry messages and that, I don't know. I don't think we know that.
They don't. Well, the hard question is in neuroscience is why are we conscious?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how are we conscious?
And how are we conscious, yeah.
You know, because it's like, yeah, okay, I can accept what you just said and I can understand what you're saying, but what power is that? You know what I mean?
Like exactly.
That's the hard question.
Is what's on a deeper level there.
Yeah, and what is imprinted on your consciousness. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, I'm twice your age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my experience and my level of understanding of the world as I see it is completely different to yours.
Yeah.
But then there is hereditary. You know what I mean? I look like my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we've got our family lines. Then, you know, they're saying you can store information on DNA.
Yeah, and pass it down.
It down. Yep. You know what I mean? So, and that's how we are predispositioned through some of our things to be like the family that we come from.
Yeah.
Now that's got to involve our consciousness.
Some sort of like conscious information passed down through the genome.
Yeah, because if you think about it, and obviously we're conditioned, our thought patterns and our belief systems are conditioned by the world around us.
Yeah.
However, if we're in a family unit, a lot of the traits that I have personally, you know, my father has and his father has, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But and we think that's a conscious choice for us to make those. But maybe, you know, I know Sam Harris is a proponent of there is no free will.
Yeah.
Like you've already decided to do something.
Everything that happens is always going to happen.
It was always, you know, you've decided there is no, actually, you can't take a free will choice. I don't entirely agree with that. I think my personal opinion on it is that there's multiple futures that exist at the same time. And there's multiple things that could happen.
Well, an infinite universe, yeah.
And
you're just picking your reality.
And you're picking your reality by your actions.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like the classic one is like, you know, we have been having a nice night, you know what I mean? The witching hour's approaching, so we're talking about consciousness. If I got up and just punched you in the face randomly, you know what I mean? That, you know, that'd change shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. The whole scenario would change.
Exactly. Right. But I'm, you know, obviously I don't want to do that.
No, hopefully not.
However, that's what we're saying. So, you know, how do these choices, if you are choosing the path you want to choose, you're choosing that, I think.
That's a decision you're
making.
But
on a neurobiological level, I think they've actually proven that you've made the choice ahead of time. By the time
some kind of predisposition.
Yeah. Because, I mean, consciousness is one of those things that is just postulation.
Yeah.
You know, we don't actually know. You know, even the smartest of us that can break down the neurons, they can do that. They can wax lyrical. You know, these guys, you know, Sam Harris, there's Richard Dawkins, there's all these guys that will wax lyrical on consciousness.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, they're not really sure.
Yeah, no one's really sure.
No.
It does, you know, however educated you think you are on the subject, you know, a quote from you know nothing.
Yeah.
You know, that's the best thing to understand. And that quote alone is amazing. The thought that you know nothing, because the sea of information and knowledge that you can learn is infinite.
Yes.
Is infinite. When you learn something, there's something beyond that to learn.
Absolutely.
And it is like in the evolving consciousness episode, it is like an evolutionary thing. You evolve to that point of understanding. There's still another understanding point to go to.
Absolutely.
And it's going to permanently adjust.
Never ends, man. It never ends. There is no... And there is no end to it. There's no stopping. There is levels of mastery in every single aspect of life that you choose to look at.
Yeah.
And you could do that over and over again to the day that, you know, when we slip off this mortal coil in many years to come, you're still not gonna know anything.
Yeah, you're gonna reach that point. There's still an infinite amount of levels of knowledge you can have.
Yeah.
And it's something that when you get into these topics and that, it's very important to understand that, so that way you don't dive into this understanding that you know it. And
however, it's one of the most difficult things to maintain, though, Reagan.
It is very, and I've looking into consciousness, I've fell into that thing too. You know, it's I'm learning about this, and then I go, oh, is this me being biased here? Is this my predisposition on a certain subject? That's because the more I look into it, the more that I do understand that your experiences and decisions sort of make your experience and decisions in the future.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely,
and they say that every movie you watch, every breath you take, every word you say, everything like that, it affects everything from the hills and valleys on your brain to the neuron pathway. And that's what makes humans different to a lot of animals. You know, a giraffe is born and then within hours it can walk.
Yeah.
And that's because it's born with pre-wired neurons. The brain neurons know where it goes, but because humans are such an adaptable species, we're born and then through our early childhood, these neurons develop.
Yes.
And that there is to say, I'm just taking a wild guess here as to why, but I believe that is because, if someone's born in the snow, in a snowy region or anything, they're born and then they're allowed, their neurons wire and they learn from the surroundings and the people around them. They learn how to survive in that sort of condition.
Yeah, absolutely. You adapt and your physiology adapts. It was talking to a guy yesterday.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, he was telling me about split personalities, right? So you talk about consciousness and versions of consciousness.
Yeah.
Where someone with a true split personality, they could be an insulin-dependent diabetic.
Yeah.
One personality. They will split personalities. They will switch like that.
Yeah.
And that other person is not an insulin.
Doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it. And so you're not even just switching your consciousness, you're switching your entire physiology of your body.
Well, that's what I think is we are a body. Yeah. We are a physical existing being. Does our whole body add up to our consciousness?
Definitely. I think they're proving now that there's more neurons firing in your gut and your heart than there is actually in your brain.
In your brain, yeah. And that's my little sisters have type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
And so I know a little bit about that. And then if someone has diabetes, their pancreas is still there and it still has insulin, but your body builds a dependence to it.
Yeah.
Is that a conscious remembered thing that your body has? And when you have a personality change, your consciousness thinks you're someone else. And in that someone else, your whole body changes consciousness. So then also your remembers that insulin, it can take insulin because its consciousness adjusts and it changes, it changes the ego, it changes the consciousness, it changes who you are through your whole body, your whole physical conscious and mental conscious.
Yes.
And I think that's what it is, and it's interesting. It really is to look into that and wonder how easily it can be changed. Your consciousness can be changed and adjusted. And
it can constantly be changed and adjusted. One of the sayings that I don't like very much is a leopard never changes its spots. Well, no, that's not true.
That's not true.
You have a choice not to change your spots, and you can stay stuck in your ways if that's what you choose to do. That's completely your option. However, the reality is every 7 or so years, pretty much every single cell in our body regenerates.
Yeah.
That's the reason we age, is that some of those cells don't regenerate well anymore, right? So you're actually literally a different person.
Every atom in your body is different 10 years ago.
Yeah. So you can evolve, you can change. However, the malleability, pliability of the consciousness is very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because that is probably one of the things you can change the most if you set you set your mind to it.
That's exactly right.
You know what I mean?
If you're determined enough.
Yeah. If you're disciplined enough and determined enough, you can break through and begin to understand trauma. You can begin to understand how that trauma happened. What was your part in that trauma?
Yeah.
How do you fix that? You know what I mean? These things are important when you are evolving your consciousness and questioning your consciousness.
Yeah.
Because I'm not too sure where you're at with that sort of stuff, mate.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about ego and stuff like that. It's like part of it is that whatever shit things have happened in your life, and as tough and as terrible as they can be, and everyone's got a terrible story, part of it was your fault.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That's it.
And you've got to the hard part when you're questioning consciousness, and you, as you say, you're trying to gain multiple perspectives, and you're trying to improve yourself. Is that you look back and go, without anger and without anything, and go, oh yeah, maybe that was my fault.
Maybe I could have done something different.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
I think with that too, it's also important not to let yourself get caught into the idea that it is your fault, because in the end it's happened. That traumatic event has happened, whether you had a role in it or not. If you have, it's important to acknowledge that, but understand that has happened. The only thing that exists is the moment.
Yeah.
The past is not something you should let affect you.
Yes.
You can change it, and you're permanently changing.
Yes,
and that's the
but
way
your
we work.
past dictates how you act in your present. That's the thing, because it happens moment to moment. I remember the first time I truly grasped that, and I was teaching actually. I was teaching a class, and we were talking about something, and I think someone brought up past or something like that, and it was like 10:30 at it was just before smoke. I'm like, there's nothing we can do about what's happened the last 2 hours. It's done.
It's done. You're never getting it back.
You're never getting it back. Well, I mean, we've been sitting here for about an hour before we turn the mics on.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about that. It's done.
It's happened, yeah.
It's happened.
Been and gone.
Does that and how we acted in the past shape how we act in the present and therefore the future? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
However, it's a cliche, live in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? However, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely.
Because your predisposition and your belief systems that your consciousness chooses to use happen because of your past. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Every experience you have makes your experiences. If things that happen in your past, who you meet, everybody you talk to, affects who you are in the future. Yeah. Whether if you meet someone you don't remember it, you don't think back and remember it. Either way, it still has had an effect on your neuron pathway and your consciousness. It's you see it in the moment. You notice it's happening. Your brain processes it. Whether it's stored in your memories in the limbic system or whatever. Yeah. It doesn't affect. It still affected you, and it still had an impact on you, whether you can acknowledge it or not. Yeah. And it shapes who you are. Yeah. But you can also remember certain events and then think from a new perspective, a different perspective, because you're always in a different perspective. An hour from now, I'll have a different perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you can use that perspective and see. And I think what's important is through conscious evolution, to change your consciousness for the better, to be able to look back at what's happened and acknowledge it and change it for the better. And I think that through conscious evolution, that's how it works, and that's the best way to do it. Yeah. Or it may not be the best way to do it, but I believe to an extent it is.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Being able to look on past traumatic events with a different perspective, understanding and seeing it from an observant point of view, because what you really need to do is as best you can, step outside yourself. Step outside yourself and see it from an outsider's point of view. Yeah. Because if you engage with that past and with that trauma, or if something similar happens to you, it'll trigger you. But if you can engage and observe without engaging. Yeah. So you engage the memory, you observe, but don't engage the emotion.
Don't engage the emotion, yeah.
Right. You can then look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And that then will change. You talk about neural pathways in the brain, right? Every time you choose to do something positive for yourself, so every time you choose to do a positive discipline, the way you've done it 1,000 times is still there. And the way I like to describe it is the way you've done things, the way you've always done things that may not serve you, right, through your consciousness is like a 6-lane highway. Yeah. And to start with, every time you change that perception, it's like taking a bulldozer through the bush, right? Yeah. You're making a shitty track. But the thing is, every single time that you choose not to do it the way that doesn't serve you, and to do it a way that serves you, the bad way loses lanes, and the good way
gains them.
Yeah, and then through discipline and over a period of time, you can actually change the way you think.
I like that. I like that metaphor. That's really good.
You know,
6-lane highway. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. You know, and your experiences make your experiences.
yes,
At the end of the day, you are who you were, but you can change it.
yes,
You can change it.
you can change it.
And it's always going to affect you. It's always going to be there, but you can adjust yourself and change who you are.
Yeah,
And I think it's important to acknowledge that and then look at it through positivity. And yeah, it's
which again, all these things are very easy to talk about, very difficult to maintain.
yeah, definitely.
You know, so and difficult to put into practice. So you know, you gotta take your time, work on the little things, and then go from there.
Go from there. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what? Okay, so what? That was really cool. But what else you got in your book there, mate?
What
Do you
have I
want to
got?
share?
Yeah, I'll see what I've got hiding around. So I've got a couple questions.
Yep.
I've got the why we question consciousness.
Yes.
Why do humans question things? You know, you think about a cat.
Yeah.
An animal just lives its life. It doesn't question. It doesn't learn. It just eats, sleeps, pisses, shit, whatever. You know what I mean?
wouldn't use a cat. I think cats are very conscious.
You reckon? Yeah, I think so. But for the example I'm using is they are conscious, but they don't strive to learn and understand like humans.
Yeah, well, no mammal does. Or
Yeah.
No animal does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to say humans have a more advanced consciousness or anything, just to say we have a different consciousness in the way that we want to learn and we want to learn. And I think about why we want to learn.
Yes.
What do we gain from understanding the moon? What do we gain from understanding the atoms of the universe?
Yeah.
And I don't have an answer for that. I don't. But I think why we question consciousness,
Yeah.
there's many things. You know, is it a fear of the unknown? Is it for a sense of meaning and purpose?
Yeah.
Is that something humans need or humans always strive for? Is because you live and you die.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. Everything you do in that meantime happens. You die. 100 years later, it's going to be forgotten. There's not much point behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that there scares humans and scares us, and it scares me too. It's an uncomfortable thought, but I think
Oh, it's life after death, mate, which is the last one we did. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think that's another reason why you question consciousness, whether our consciousness will move on to another plane of existence, or whether
Well, we want
something
to cling to our existence. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I suppose the first question was, is it the fear of the unknown? I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, because the more things that can become known, then the less fear.
The less fear we become more comfortable with it. We
Yeah.
learn about our existence, then we don't have to fear what our existence is.
Yes. Even though we truly don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
we may never know.
Exactly. And however, that's also why religions take hold, because they give you, don't worry, it's okay.
It's okay. This is why.
This is why. This
Yeah.
is what's going to happen. This is in everyone, and it's a good doctrine. Or some, it's not a good doctrine, but it's a doctrine that people can exist by.
Yeah.
but they can shape their consciousness and their belief
beliefs
systems from that.
Yeah.
And then they're okay. So I think the reason we question is definitely the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
You know. And what was the next one? There was fear of the unknown and
fear of death and the unknown, and search for purpose and meaning.
Well, fear of death, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
You know, we the grand question. We obviously, when you and Pat were here, we just discussed exploring life after death, which is a really good podcast. Everyone, check that one
check
out.
It out.
If you haven't already. It's the forever question.
And we sat down and we talked about it for over an hour, and we still don't know the answer.
No, and look, we said a lot of stuff after the podcast finished that I wish we had a called as well. But again, you're talking about the basis of pretty much every religion.
Yeah.
So of course, yes, it is fear of death. And you're right. You want to make your mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is, and look, let's be honest, mate. That's what we're doing.
That's
right
what we're
now.
doing here. Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
We've decided to express ourselves and put it out on the internet and to the awesome people that have given this a listen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
However, it's us trying to make our mark.
It is, and then I started podcasts because of you, and then through you doing that, you had your mark on me. You had this effect that made me learn, and now I want to do the same thing. I want to express these ideas and help other people evolve their consciousness.
Yeah,
and
let just so you understand, the humbleness that you gave me because you just decided to start because of this little podcast, that's left a mark on me.
Yeah.
Have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like these marks are left, and stuff like that, obviously that's personal.
Yeah.
However, that both of those things will help propel us forward.
Yeah, and move us into another step of consciousness.
Yes.
And I think I see it as a positive thing, and I think it's going to put us into a more positive state of consciousness and a more positive evolutionary step in consciousness.
Definitely.
And
well, look, it can and it can't, and this is the tricky thing with consciousness.
Perspective, I think.
It's perspective, right? Perspective. If I had $1 for every time we said perspective on this podcast, we'd be in a lot nicer studio, right?
Yeah, yeah.
However, because you could take, I could take you starting a podcast and go, oh, fucking how good am I,
yeah.
Rah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, that's taking it a negative.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be acting from my ego. That'd be using it to feed my ego.
Feed your ego, yeah.
Whereas for me, it was like how humbled that, some good young blokes like yourself, I know Pat's off on his next adventure.
Yeah,
however,
yeah.
He, you boys started, it made me humble. It's like, oh shit, I better pay attention to what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like there's people out there that are listening. You know what I mean? So it all depends on the perspective that you take.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of everything in life depends on perspective, or most things at least. Everything from success, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah,
and I think there's a lot of things on that. And perspective is developed from consciously who you are. Your perspective is shaped, and that's what I think about a lot. Is there biases that you don't notice and you don't acknowledge because that's who you consciously are. That's a part of your consciousness, and that's another reason why I question it. Is who am I?
Yes, that is
what makes me unique.
Exactly, and especially in today's day and age, like that's a question that I pose to a lot of people. It's like, who are you? And then before you answer, it's not your car, it's not your house, it's not your job, it's not your name, it's nothing. Who are you? Past all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Who are you? And a lot of people don't know.
It's a tough thing to answer.
And the thing is that it'll forever change. You'll never truly know because if you are embracing and seeking the truth, there's another one. It's like beware of people who say they know the truth.
Yeah.
Follow those who say they seek it.
They seek it, yeah.
Because knowing is leaving out anything else.
Anything else, yeah. You close it in your conscious evolution, really.
Yeah. Whereas seeking, it's like, okay, this is that. It could be this. It could be fucking anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't actually. You don't know.
Yeah. Definitely. It's tough. It's a tough question, and there is. I don't know if we're ever going to know that we know the answer, and that's how it is with a lot of these things.
That's a fascinating one, right? How do we know when we know the answer?
When we know the answer, exactly.
Because the constant quest for questioning and trying to explore and understand. Someone may have stumbled on the answer.
Yep.
But because it's like, oh no, we'll try something else.
Try something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think about the meaning of life too. Is have we found the answer? Has someone found the answer and expressed that? But people are all searching for their own meaning, and so we've bypassed that.
Yeah.
We've bypassed the actual meaning of life.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't. How do we know that what we know is true?
You are completely correct. The meaning of life thing is obviously something that I've questioned a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'll try and get this right. Life itself has no meaning.
Yeah.
Life is a chance to create
meaning. I like that. I like that.
And it's how you're going to create your meaning.
I've got a similar one too to that. I think that there's sort of two levels to the meaning of life. There might be a meaning for all life as a coherent group.
Yeah.
For all life forms coherently, there's a meaning, and then there's a sub-meaning that's an individual meaning and purpose. And I think I've thought about that, and I used to think, there's no meaning to life, there's no purpose or anything. And that's partially correct, but in saying that, learning what we are as life forms, you sort of understand that we are experiencing
Yeah.
this existence as life.
Yes.
And I think that there is the meaning of life is to experience existence,
Hmm.
to experience the universe that was created. The soil in which we lay was created, and we get to experience that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then the personal meaning and purpose comes from how you experience that. You can experience it however the hell you want.
Yes, it's up to you, yeah.
Exactly, but no matter what
Look,
you're doing.
it is up to you to a point. I mean, and this is the, within these conversations, it's always like, you can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But if we were born in a different situation, we were born in Libya, which is a hell world,
war-torn
countries, do we overall have the same ability to question our conscience and all that sort of stuff? Are you going to do that if you're put in a situation like that? Maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly. However, and this is where it gets tricky, because your surroundings and your environment and your upbringing and the things that shape your decisions, your belief systems,
Yeah.
shift you as well, shift your
Change who you
consciousness
are,
as
yeah.
well. So it's like we're not all born on the same playing field. To pretend that is true is you just foolish.
Yeah.
And that does
yeah.
have an effect on how you evolve and how your consciousness evolves and your ability to question and your education. All these things have a factor, However, the meaning of life, because it is all bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And you can get stuck in that. You can get stuck in this, it's all bullshit, it doesn't fucking matter anyway, right? However, like you say, that is true.
To an extent.
Yeah. However, it's also true that for whatever reason you are being powered, you're powering this meat vehicle, me as Triffin, you as Reagan.
Yeah.
As you say, to experience love,
existence.
life, skating, mountain biking, you know what I mean? Like all these things that we love to do.
Yeah.
We're here to experience
and
that.
we're gifted the opportunity to do that.
Exactly. I think,
no matter how we do that.
Yeah. The problem with the meaning of life, especially in the modern age, is that we've created a society that basically sucks our meaning away from us.
Yeah.
We've created a society where we have to work and do all the things we have to do.
Work. You wake up, work,
Yeah.
get your pay at the end of the week, spend it by next week, wait for your next pay. It's the same cycle over and over again.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that is where I think the loss of meaning comes. We've lost the meaning of what it is to be human.
Yeah. Yeah. That's there's a quote I love from a philosopher. I think it goes I'm going to forget it now, aren't I? It's
Of course you are, because the record button's
the record button's on. That's exactly right. It's sitting there. It's
Dead air.
It's gone. It's gone. It's there, but it's gone.
Oh, text me later. You'll text me at 2:00 in the morning and go, fucking
Yeah, I got it.
It's all right. Just let it go.
I'll remember. It'll come to me at some point.
Do you know what I do in that situation? I envision there's like little dudes inside my head.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, okay, all the little dudes at the back, fucking find that.
Find that.
And let me know when we found it.
Yep,
and then
let me know.
just move on.
Yeah.
But again, that's an interesting thing too. So that's obviously...
I got it.
You got it?
I got it. So the quote goes, once absurdity is recognized, it becomes passion, the most harrowing of all, but whether or not one can live with one's passion, which is to burn the heart they simultaneously exalt, that is the whole question. That is by Albert Camus, an ancient philosopher.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Yep, I like that quote. And it's sort of like the absurdity of the universe we live in, the unknownness of life, the unknownness of the world.
It's crazy that we even exist, right? The fact that we can sit here in a comfortable space and question consciousness is very cool.
It's absurd.
However,
it's absurd.
It's crazy, man.
It's ridiculous. And that's what he says. He says it's absurd, but once the absurdity is recognized, and once you understand the weirdness of the universe and the weirdness of life, it becomes a passion.
Yes.
And that's what I've noticed big time, is by looking into this consciousness and understanding how weird it is, this world we live in.
It's totally strange, yeah.
Exactly. It's given me this passion to understand it. And to burn the heart, I simultaneously exalt.
Yes.
And I love that quote. That's my favourite quote.
Because I think when we're talking about the meaning of life,
Mm.
the problem is for a lot of people is that they have no passion, like you
Yeah.
say, right? There's no
Yeah.
passion. There's no something else outside of everything else that makes you who you are.
Mm.
Okay, I mean, look, you are part of my passion project
Yeah. Yeah.
right now.
Mm. Exactly.
You've seen the evolution. I've showed you the pics, the old pics,
The
of
old pics of the
studio,
refinery,
yeah,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean. So it's like it's come a long way,
Mm.
and this is actually a physical example
Yeah.
of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
However, a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't have that because they get stuck in the rat race,
In the
and
rat
then they
race,
lose
yeah.
the meaning. Okay,
Yeah.
and I say that to guys all the time. What do you do for yourself?
Yeah.
And it's it shouldn't be drinking. It shouldn't
No.
be copious amounts of drugs. It shouldn't
No.
be. What are you doing
For yourself.
for yourself
Yeah.
that makes you better?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's interesting how I put it to other people. It's like, okay, what did you like doing when you were a kid?
Mm.
What did you love doing?
Yeah.
And I've said this before. However, what I used to love doing is I grew up in Victoria. It was fucking cold,
Yeah.
right? But when it wasn't cold, I'd be out on my bike,
Bike. Yep.
right? And when it was cold, I'd be inside, either playing video games or early video games.
Yeah.
Or what we used to love doing was get the old boombox out, hit the record button, and tell fucking jokes and shit and fuck around on the stereo.
Yeah.
Here I am, 37. What are we doing?
The podcast.
The podcast.
Yeah.
I rode 27 Ks on my mountain bike today. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I've just translated the things that made me feel free when I was younger
Yeah.
into now.
Into now.
And that's
Yeah.
as simple as it can be. And it doesn't have to be. The other problem is with the meaning of life, and it gets confused, we got to have all the best cars and, the money and blah, blah, blah. Material gain.
things. Yeah.
That'll give us meaning. It doesn't. It's
It
bullshit.
doesn't. No.
Right? You
Yeah.
could be the best fucking doily knitter in the world. If at the end of your life you're happy that you were the best doily knitter in the world,
Mm.
who gives a fuck?
Exactly. 100%.
You know?
That's exactly right. Yeah. And as you said, something from your childhood, if you enjoyed doing it, why stop? Why stop doing what you love? And that's what I've thought about. I've been skateboarding since I was little, on and off. I rode BMX. I love BMX and and making films and stuff, all that sort of things. And so I've tried continuing that. And skateboarding is a strong passion of mine. I think it's a fantastic sport, and I like it for many reasons. I think the main reason I like it is it's a very self-developing sport. I've never been big on team sports, and I've never been very good with team sports. But skateboarding is you yourself. I'll plug my earphones in. I'll go up to a staircase, and I'll say, "I'm going to do it today. I'm going to kickflip down it." And then it's that mental battle. You go, you ride, and you go, "Nah, stop." You stop. You look at it. And you go back and forth. But once you do it, and once you land that, the feeling of accomplishment you have, that feeling that I have evolved myself and I can now do this trick,
Yeah, absolutely.
is undescribable.
Mm.
And I think it's a permanent chase of that feeling. And then when you look back and you see how far you've come, from learning your first ollie to landing your first tray flip, it's that change. It's that I've done something. I have come from here to here, and that whole time I was developing myself through this physical activity.
Yeah, and look, you've hit the nail on the head there too, mate. Physical activity, right? We're human beings. We're built to move. We're built to run. We're built to do something with this meat vehicle.
Yeah.
If you don't use the meat vehicle, it'll give up on you.
Mm.
Right?
And I think that's been lost too over time.
Yeah.
We used to, Eric used to go, when you'd wake up, you'd have to go hunt. You'd have to go hunt your food,
Yes.
do all that stuff. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We don't keep that physical thing. It's wake up, go work 9 to 5, and then hope that it doesn't fucking destroy your body.
Which it is.
It does.
Yeah, sedentary lifestyle is killing us. Yeah.
And it's boring on a subliminal level.
Yeah.
You do it every single day, and you do it, but you you aren't fulfilling what your body wants to do.
No.
You aren't doing something that pushes yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why it's always important. And you know, we do live in a Western civilization where you have to work and you have to do these things. And there's not
to quote Madonna, we're material girls in a material world,
Yeah,
mate. You know what I mean? You think no one gives a shit, stop paying your bills. You know, like, however, you've got to find something and find time to give your life meaning.
And to give yourself purpose, yeah.
Yeah, and give yourself purpose. Because that is what we're chasing.
Yeah,
you know what
the
I mean?
meaning of life, to give yourself purpose. And yeah, that's it. That's it. Where, you know, how you find that purpose and what you do to gather that purpose is up to you. That there is you being an individual. For me,
it is. You just got to follow the general rules.
Mm.
Don't hurt anyone. Be cool. You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, well, you can hurt yourself if that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know.
No, that's it. I look. I think you're a vessel of reflection, and I know. No, I'm going to forget his name now. He's one of Joe Rogan's friends. I follow his podcast and that. But he expresses this idea. You're a vessel of reflection, and so I like that. And it's the whole. If you express happiness into the world, that's what you're going to get back.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I work in customer service. I deal with customers all the day. I deal with some of the grumpiest motherfuckers in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had some fella the other day comes up and he puts his groceries there and he's fucking, hey, I'll buy one of your fucking bags. And it's almost instinctual to answer that with negativity.
Yes.
He's being negative towards me.
challenged,
Yeah. Someone punches you in the face, punch him back. That's the idea that we have almost instinctually.
Yeah.
But it's a different thing. I answered that negativity with positivity.
Yeah.
I smiled, I was happy, polite. And you notice if you do that enough throughout the day, people will smile back. And even
you
if
can
they
turn
don't.
people around. Man.
Exactly. And you get it back. You do. You
Absolutely
really do.
you do. Because it costs you nothing. Okay? This is the thing about that. Positive things give you energy. Negative things take it from you.
That's exactly right.
And it's funny, like what I used to tell my students was exactly what you're talking about there, except the reverse. Go and find the grumpiest checkout person you can find.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's always one grumpy one on the line.
Yeah. Someone that's bad, had a shit day and is sick of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's life, right? However, your mission is to go to talk to that person and make them smile.
Yeah.
Be happy, be positive, tell them a joke,
towards them.
that sort of stuff, and see the effect you can have on someone, yeah? And that is meaning in itself, right?
Yeah.
However, in order to gain the perspective and the reflection, because there's nothing without contrast, what I used to say as well is go in and be a grumpy asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. And see what you get back from that.
Yeah, and see how that works.
Yeah.
And that's actually, you can physically see how that is, you know, and when we're talking about the meaning of life, just doing that, you know, I think I said on a podcast recently, there was a sign during I think it was the Trump election, and it was a sign just said, why can't everyone just be cool? Like, how profound is that?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, however, at the same time, there's so many different reasons why we can't.
Yeah.
But you have to create your personal meaning and understand that majority of the time, and the thing is that, you know, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Warrior, yeah.
Right? So you need to train yourself. You need to be physical. You need to understand. However, at the same time, you can just be cool. Because most people are the same.
Yeah.
And if you want to create meaning, I think firstly you got to be cool with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because you are your own worst nightmare. You know, in most of us, no one is harder on us than ourselves. So when you're looking for this meaning, when you're trying to create this meaning of life, you know, using your life to create meaning, you got to be cool with yourself.
Oh yeah.
You got to forgive yourself.
Yeah, that's I always think, you know, if you're mad, you're angry, or you're sad, you think about what do these emotions and what does this provide me? Do I feel good when I'm sad? Do I feel good? Is that a pleasant thing? And the answer is almost always no. It's not a pleasant thing to do.
No.
You provide happiness, and happiness is a positive thing. Yeah. You're going to feel good if you're happy. And I think it's a tough one. It really is, because happiness is a tough thing to grasp. And I think there's a physical being and there's a state of mind. Yeah. And I think you can accomplish a happy state of mind, and then to an extent where the physical things that happen to you don't necessarily affect that much. Yeah. And I've got a perfect example of that. The other day I dropped my dad off at the airport. I was driving home. Google Maps fucked me around and gave me an hour trip home, what should have been a half hour, and I've managed to take a wrong turn onto some highway that took an hour to do a U-turn, an hour back, and then an hour home.
Yeah.
I got angry. I let that anger overcome me.
Yeah.
I punched my windshield.
Yeah.
Shattered it. Cracked it. Gave me negativity. I felt like shit. If I were to breathe and I were to find my happy state of mind, that physical thing wouldn't affect me. In reality, this is going to cost me a little bit of extra fuel and a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
But
and look, in reality, you could plug in a good podcast and it wouldn't fucking matter anyway.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure I played one of yours as well on the way home.
Did you?
I normally do that. I remember the one you did about the dark retreat.
Yes.
Yeah, I listened to that, and I remember driving over the bridge. It was like 4 a.m. The sun was rising, and it impacted me. It made me think, and I could have. In reality, that negative emotion, that anger that I showed provided me with negativity. Now I was stuck with a bill to pay on a broken windshield, and I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
that's the contrast, man. You let it overcome you, something's going to go wrong.
Exactly.
Right?
You're
going to pay for that. It's going to take something away from you because it is a negative thing. But if you just said, oh, well, fucking hell, what am I going to do? Chilled out, as you said, have a breathe.
Yeah.
Plug in a podcast, and you'll be home before you know it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you might get to see something cool along the way because you're going a different way.
You're going somewhere you haven't been before. It's a different experience.
Exactly.
And experiences make you who you are.
Yeah.
And different experiences are important. Whether they're negative or positive, they always add to who you are.
All experience, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can turn a negative experience into a positive experience by understanding it and looking at it through different perspectives.
That's true.
And I think that there is the importance of finding a happy state of mind.
Yeah.
Is to look at it from a different perspective and think about what this does for me.
Yes. But you can't always be happy either, though, mate, because the contrast is that you will have negative emotions. And walking around, a smile on your face all the time, you look like the fucking Joker.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean?
100%.
There's the reason the Joker is the epitome of the worst character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can't maintain that state all the time. But also, you can't maintain the state of depression all the time. Too many people, men and women, take their lives every week because of depression.
It's very sad.
However, you've got to understand the balance and the contrast. And as long as you can see that and you can understand that, then you will have a chance to create your own meaning.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll find your purpose.
Yeah.
You'll find your purpose through that, through looking at it with contrast and through different perspectives.
Yeah.
And I think that's consciousness. That's us developing ourselves and developing our consciousness. And that's what we're questioning.
Yeah, it is. And look, as far as understanding what powers us, the human curiosity in me wants to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, at the same time, it's just fucking cool to be alive, man.
Exactly, to experience this existence.
Yeah. And I think, as you say, sit back and actually observe the things you do every day and the things you have access to. It's nuts.
It's insane. There's so much going on around us that we can pick up. Your body is permanently picking in senses. Yeah. It's permanently experiencing it. And that's why, people, I go to work every day and I work in the same place, same time, and I could look at that negatively. I'm fucking going to work again. I'm bored. Or in reality, I could go, I'm still living, I'm still experiencing, I'm going there. I could sit home in my room all day.
Yeah.
I could go to work and be doing something. Either way, I'm doing something and I'm making an experience for myself.
Yeah, and you're seeing different things. And,
yeah,
the more you can widen your gaze, the more you can widen your perspective. And it is actually literally widening your gaze, right?
Yeah.
Don't be so insular with your blinkers on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we go to work, we look at the same thing every day. The way we improve on that is by widening our gaze and seeing things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And going, maybe I could do this better instead of just doing the grind. However, the thing with that is that that is not good. You can do that to a certain point. However, I don't think that's what feeds your soul.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
You've got to figure out what feeds your soul.
And on a deeper level, what is going to provide you with an experience that you're going to remember and you're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
I think that's what, when it comes down to consciousness and memories and that, I think about, what do I want on my deathbed? When I'm lying there about to die, what is it that I want? I want memories. I want a photo album I can look through and remember that they're positive times. They're positive things I was doing. Right? You know, if you're upset and you're depressed your entire life, you're going to lay on your deathbed. You're going to look back, and it's not going to be a positive thing.
No.
You're going to look back through all the negativity, and you're going to get negativity from that. So if you can do it with a positive mindset and be happy and enjoy these experiences and do things that while you're happy you can experience that and then get excess happiness. You know what I mean? These chemical dumps that also provide us happiness.
Yes.
And you can look back on that and remember that you have fulfilled purpose.
I think the aim is to be, from my perspective, you know, talking about this for a very long time, obviously doing a fair bit of podcasting on it. It is about, I think the aim at the end of the day, mate, is to be content.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's going to be good, there's going to be bad.
Yeah.
There's going to be in between. There's going to be fucking awesome. There's going to be shit.
Shit, yeah.
You know, at the end of all that, and somewhere in the middle there, you can exist.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's same with happiness too as well. Happiness is there's a neutral line. And you're always going to be sitting on that neutral line. You're going to rise, you're going to be happy for a bit, and you're happy, but you're always going to come back down to that neutral line. And you're going to be sad for a bit, but it's important you're always going to remember you're going to come back to that neutral line.
Absolutely.
And then I think there's ways you can raise that neutral line. You can raise it to a happier level.
Well, like by the things we're talking about, by questioning consciousness, questioning the world around you. Don't get caught up in the minutiae. It is all bullshit. However, that doesn't mean that you have to believe that and buy into that.
I think if you live your life thinking there's no purpose there's no point to this, then there's no point. But if you live your life and say this is my purpose, this is what I want, then of course you're going to have purpose. You're going to have something, and then you're going to be content. And that's the goal. I think that's the goal. That is the aim. And I think it's important to think of it in that way.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, mate, look. Have we got anything else we didn't cover?
Yeah, I've got plenty more notes to go through, plenty more things to question. I got one that I definitely wanted to ask you. Right?
Yep.
I think with the human body, and the human body is obviously conscious. We're conscious, but within the human body is an ecosystem of living cells and living. You know, you got bacteria and all this.
Yeah, theoretically, we've got more foreign cells in our body than we do our own cells. So. Who are we?
Who are we exactly? And I think about that, and I think is that ecosystem within us part of our consciousness?
Absolutely.
Does that make up who we are? And then I question, the planet is an ecosystem.
Yes.
The world we live on is an ecosystem full of living organisms, great and small.
Yes.
And then you know, it's most likely like that throughout the universe. We ask, is the universe itself conscious? Is the universe, does it have its own consciousness, or is there a consciousness that exists on the universe that we are part of? So that consciousness that exists within the universe expresses itself through life.
Yes.
And that's what we are. That's something I question. And I don't know if we're going to know the answer, but I think it's important to think of it.
So you're talking about basically God.
Yeah.
So there's a few different ways to look at it. Obviously from a religious context, okay, there is a greater power.
Yeah.
There's the human conviction or the human need to want to believe in something greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. However, at the same time, we're all just space dust as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you talk about all the different organisms. Part of your bone structure and the thing is actually space dust. It's come from space.
Come from a star that's going supernova.
Exactly, right? So if that's the case, then our bodies are made from the energy of the universe.
Of the universe, yeah.
It takes energy to make something conscious. If you think of the mind-boggling idea of space and the things that, you know, just what we understand, our observable universe.
And what we see in space.
It's almost a philosophical question.
Yeah.
You know, do I believe there's a universal or multi-universal consciousness, or is there a consciousness of the universe? I think there's an energy. I think there's energy, and I think we return to the source. I think it would explain. It's a good explanation as to why we're conscious.
Yeah.
We're accessing energy from the universe.
From the universe.
Where does the muse come from? You know what I mean? You think about, you know, one of the other mind-blowing ones, if you sit back and think about it, that everything you have and everything you see was nothing once.
Yeah.
It was just an idea. Someone
idea, a concept.
created these headphones. Everything you see around you.
I think of it as the greatest minds 100 years ago. Most kids in school know everything they know and more. They're smarter than the greatest minds that existed 100 years ago.
Yeah, through knowledge and information. But
Passed down.
You would, but you would question retention of information now with the technology. But
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. They have access. The access to the information they have is 1,000 million fold. Who knows?
Yeah,
It's probably,
much more.
And so, is there God? The problem with that term or universal consciousness is it's so loaded.
Yeah. There's so much to explore.
It makes sense to me. Let me just put it like that. It makes sense to me that there is a universal energy, and I'd like to think there would be an overriding architect.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Whether it's God or whether it's an energy that exists
energy
or what. Yeah.
or something. You know what I mean? Like these things that you see. I mean, I've spent enough time looking through my telescope and all that sort of stuff. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Once you can actually try and wrap your head around the concept of how big a light year is, or even just the planets within our solar system and their alignments and how they set up, and the likelihood
and
of
how
that
they come about,
and how they come about, and the gases and all this stuff. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
I don't want it to be put there by accident. And
the
thing is, especially in our solar system, the fact that it was put there by accident is actually pretty unlikely. Because it's perfect. Our solar system is perfect. How it lines where the Earth is, where Jupiter is to protect us from meteorites,
and the way the Earth has been to form life perfectly in the Goldilocks zone, the moon hitting us, everything. Yeah.
But again, you look at I think there's over 100 million planets now within our galaxy alone that have been theoretically in the Goldilocks zone.
In the Goldilocks zone that could hold life.
Yeah.
And you think is it just a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that somehow we've ended up in the Goldilocks zone, spinning on the right axis, the sun the right distance from us, the right size, the moon hitting us, the moon being in orbit of us, and we question, is that just a coincidence, or is there something that caused that in order for us to form?
Yeah.
Is that quote unquote God, that energy, has that somehow worked out that if this happens, it can then form itself and become life. And then life has perfected itself through evolution and sacrifice. And, if that's the case, were the dinosaurs purposely wiped out? Was their purpose behind that to develop something new? And then is that something new,
Or is it both, mate? Is it the randomness and chaos of life and energy as it expresses itself on this planet, expressing itself through the universe billions of times, and it's also purposeful as well?
Yeah.
Because it's, you know what I mean? I think what happens is we get stuck in a black or white answer. The answer is inevitably, from my experience, shades of grey.
Yeah. It's an infinite universe. It's an infinite universe, and it's an infinite universe of knowledge. And we know so little about it. We know nothing about it. And the more we learn, and the better.
Man, we know more about our observable space than we do about our ocean.
Yeah. That's a weird one. That's a weird one. The ocean, we exist on a small percentage of the world, but in the sea, there's this whole new ecosystem that's
world,
completely different. It's alien. It is alien.
It's a different world.
And that's what I think about terrestrial aliens, is if they exist, well, they're probably going to be life like fish. They're going to be life, and it's most likely most of the planets are water planets.
Yes.
They're completely, ocean.
Yeah.
And if life forms, it's going to form within the ocean. But then we think about, is intelligent forming within the ocean? Is there life almost like humans?
The question is when do you discern life? Because you take dolphins. They're most definitely conscious. Oh yeah. They're most definitely superiorly intelligent. They don't. They fuck with us, but they don't care. They've got run of the ocean, man.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like their world's twice the size of ours.
They're swimming around in a third dimensional world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and then we judge we judge intelligence because humans build things, we do things. Yeah. And I think what if there's different kinds of consciousness? We say,
I think there is different levels of consciousness. I mean, you think about cats, dogs,
Plants,
like plants is a very interesting one. I think that it's almost undeniable they are conscious on some level. Their ability to communicate with each other.
I think that's a weird one, because plants have developed similar to humans. They've stemmed from single-celled organisms basically and grown into their own life.
Yes.
And we've gone down a different pathway as humans. But is there plant life that is, quote unquote, more intelligent than humans or more conscious than humans? But we just don't understand
some would say that's why plants give us DMT and ayahuasca and
teach
mushrooms.
us, yeah. They
that
may
sort of
know
stuff.
exactly.
They have a different and look. So many of those experiences are. The feedback is that they feel like they're accessing a different level of consciousness, a different world, a different plane, a different realm. And there's been studies of different ayahuasca journeys where there were separate groups doing it, and they all had very similar stories.
Yeah, they see the same things.
They see the same things, so that they're accessing that same plane of consciousness or plane of existence. Yeah.
Yeah, and psilocybin mushrooms are almost the same chemical compound as DMT. And it's a naturally occurring thing that alters your state of consciousness. And it is so easy to alter your state of consciousness. There's a plant called datura. Have you heard of the datura flower?
Yes, I have.
The white bell flower. It's basically a new not a new, but a whole different category of drugs known as a delirant. And the thing is it's a plant that grows naturally here in Australia. You can walk down the street and get some. But basically it's a very strong hallucinogenic drug, but it's a delirant because your brain can't separate hallucinations from reality.
Oh, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, and so it fucks people up. The most likely outcome is if you don't die from eating, because it basically poisons your system to a point of having a hallucination. If you don't die on the substance, you're never going to be the same again.
You're never going to come back.
There's stories all over the internet, and it's like... Not many people do it, but the ones that do have these stories. One fella was talking about how he remembers he brewed a tea with the plant. He drank it in his apartment. He remembers freaking out for some reason, running out the door. He gets on a bus and he explains how he meets this woman, has children. The woman passes away, and then he grows into an old person and then dies. And he remembers waking up like 3 days later in his apartment, and he was never the same again. And the issue is because you cannot tell the difference. My mate, he told me a story about a fella he works with who did it, and he said that at one point during his trip, he was out in his backyard butt naked, standing there, and he turns around and says the Redskins are coming, and my mate just says that at work he'll poke his head up around the window and say they're coming, the Redskins are coming. And it's a freaky thing because his consciousness has been altered because it thought what it saw was a reality.
Yeah.
It thought what it saw was real and actually happening.
How do we know it wasn't a reality on a different level, dimension of existence? You know? I mean, I've had dreams where I'm for sure that I'm me living a different life.
A different life, yeah.
That's the other big question. You talk about consciousness. It's like, are we asleep right now?
That's what I think. You talk about religion and all that sort of stuff. What if the plane of existence we are in right now is heaven, but humans have become so accustomed to living in heaven that it's just become dull and boring?
Yes.
Because heaven, it's the infinite eternity, and you still die within heaven, but you're
ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Yeah, exactly. And you can question that with everything. Are we asleep? Are we? How do you know that when you die, you're not going to step out of a virtual reality machine?
You don't know.
We don't know.
The physics suggests that we are potentially living in the Matrix.
Yeah, we're living in a simulation of some sort.
Therefore, so to bring it back to your question, if we are living in the Matrix, then there is some architect because we're all part of a computer simulation.
Some kid's computer, he's just set it up and it's only been 10 minutes, but, billions of lives have passed and he's just gone out for a cigarette. He's come back and fucking, humans have formed.
Yeah.
Oh shit, humans formed
or
early.
what is it, the Men in Black, or we're an organism inside a locker inside an airport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
have you seen, there's a Netflix series called Love, Death and Robots. Have you seen that?
No, it's on my list.
Watch it. It's incredible. There's one episode and there's like 14 episodes, I think, and they're completely different stories.
Yeah.
There's one episode about a couple that buys this apartment and there's some motorized fridge and freezer in this apartment. They open the freezer up and there's these frozen ice cubes with like there's a woolly mammoth in it, in this ice cube. They close the freezer, they come back a little bit later, they open it up, and then civilization has started within this fridge, within this freezer,
Yeah.
because these life forms are frozen. They close it, they come back later, and then they've built buildings now. It's like a human timeline that's accelerating super fast.
Yeah.
And yeah, they watch it, they open the freezer, and then they see they've gone into the nuclear warfare. There's bombs being dropped, and then they close it, and they're like, oh, all right, they're probably all going to die. They open it up 10 minutes later, and then they've rebuilt civilization, and there's this futuristic city. And yeah, how do we know that's not what we're living in?
We don't.
We don't, and we probably never will.
No.
We unless you do return to the source upon death, then you may know.
Yeah.
I think at the point of death, you become the most smartest thing in the smartest human to exist.
Well, at the point of death, depending on your death and what.
To an extent,
you get a major DMT dump, and
Yeah.
it should be nice cruisy ride into the other realm theoretically. Obviously, that doesn't happen for everybody. However,
No.
So universal consciousness, I would like to think so. However, do we know? No, we don't know.
We don't.
We don't.
And will we ever? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. It's something we can question. We can question consciousness.
Yes. So what else you got for me, mate? What other questions
I'll have a
you
look
got
through.
there?
I'll see what I've got hiding in here. I did want to talk about conscious altering substances.
Yeah.
And what they are and what they teach us. And we did talk about whether that is like, psilocybin mushrooms teaching us these lessons and everyone that does these substances.
But the thing is, you got to step back from it, right? Because I've got small kids. They love spinning around.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Spinning around.
But what happens when you spin around?
You go dizzy, yeah.
So what are they doing?
They're
altering their consciousness.
Yes.
Okay. Same thing when you go on a swing. You know what I mean? It's a big rush to go on a swing, right?
Yeah.
You are giving yourself a serotonin dump as a small child.
That's true.
You are constantly on a quest to alter your consciousness. Now, obviously, there's these psychedelic substances that assist in really bending consciousness.
Yeah.
However, we are constantly trying to alter our consciousness on a daily level all the time. You have a coffee, you're altering your
you're altering your consciousness.
Your food, like as you say, the organisms, that's what I didn't get to say before, the organisms that, your gut biome and all the things you eat affect your mood. They affect how
Everything
you deal
that
with
goes
people.
on.
Everything that goes on. You're altering your consciousness with everything that you do, your thoughts, your actions, your past, so while there's these things that can accelerate us
and accelerate that conscious adjustment,
there's also it is a daily thing that we are trying to seek. It's like, as you say, psilocybin, cannabis, these things are illegal. Yet if something like 3 in 5 people are on pills.
Yeah. Well, most people will take painkillers.
Yeah.
You can walk down you take enough painkillers, you're going to die.
Yeah.
You can kill yourself on painkillers very easily.
Yeah. Well, it's quite funny, right? So if you got a headache, you ask me for a Panadol, I have some Panadol, I'll give you some Panadol.
Yeah.
Right? But if I said to you, go and find the willow bark tree, boil the bark, and make a tincture, make tea out of it and drink that, your headache will go away. You call me crazy. But if you'll take a white pill off me that you've got no fucking idea.
No clue who made it, no idea on what's in it.
Yeah.
All I know is that it fixes the headache.
Yeah. But all these things that help with us medically, a vast majority of them come from plants.
Yeah.
Come from consciousness altering
plant substances.
Plants and substances, So the thing is, my general rule is everything in moderation, including moderation.
Including moderation.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's okay to get blitzkrieged every now and again.
Yeah.
But you can't make it your existence.
No.
And you can't, especially with these, as I get older, especially with these psychedelic substances, okay, there's very much set and setting.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to be, the few times that I've done certain psychedelics, they've been life-changing experiences.
Yeah.
Folks, both good and bad. And what the difference was set and setting.
Set and setting, yeah.
Okay? You know, if you were to take, you know, mushrooms or any of that sort of stuff, or DMT, you need to do it in a safe place.
In the right place, yeah.
You need to do it with someone who cares for you and who wants to look. You want to look after each other. You need to be in a safe environment, and then you can give in and embrace the experience.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, dumping 5 grams of mushies and going to a doof
is
probably not the best idea.
No, it's not. It's not going to be the best experience. It's not
these substances, if they are on, you know, if you are to believe they're on this planet to assist us, set and setting is the most important thing.
You should use them to assist you.
Yeah.
You know, if you eat 5 grams of mushrooms and go to a doof, you're just going there to experience it. You're going there to be tripping at a doof. You're not using these mushrooms and these psilocybin, these conscious altering substances that allow you to learn and understand. You're not allowing them to teach you and understand. If you do it in the right setting, you can sit down and you can acknowledge what you're feeling and what you're seeing and what you notice.
And how you interpret it. But again, these things need to be taken in moderation too. You know, you take too much of any of that stuff, you won't come back.
No, it'll change you. It'll change you. Yeah,
you won't come back. You probably won't be the same person, but that could be a really positive thing. But you take too much of this stuff, and you can.
Well, you never know what's going to happen.
No,
you never know how negative it's going to be, and you never know how that negativity is going to affect you and how it's going to change you. And that's why the moderation thing. You know, you take the right amount, and you take it in the right setting. And you learn from it and you expand yourself, and then you're expanded.
Yeah.
You live for a bit, and then you develop yourself normally, and then you can come back to them every now and then to
for the next step.
Exactly. You're when you're ready, you're ready to understand and evolve yourself again through these experiences.
Yeah.
And that's it. Moderation. And I think certain substances teach you certain things. You know, marijuana. I think marijuana aids my thinking process. I always listen to your podcast. It's blazed. You know what I mean? Like it's the best because it you know, to describe the reason that I started podcasting was because I was way too baked and I listened to the consciousness episode, and it made me think of it differently. And while I was in that state of mind, I thought of it, and it was a subliminal fear, I guess. It was a subliminal fear. It was me saying, "Oh, he's right. He is right. We do not know anything about our existence.
Yeah.
I live my day-to-day life doing this." And I'd hate to say it, but without marijuana, my substance, I wouldn't have thought of it the same, and it wouldn't have had the same impact upon me.
Yeah, without having your consciousness altered in that manner within that time frame, it opened a doorway. And that's, as you say, but that would have been set and setting. You're like, okay, you're going to smoke a few joints, going to chill out, and I'm going to listen to a podcast. Right? Now that's totally fine.
Yeah.
You know, and you've chosen that to alter your consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's helped you for the better. But again, you know, these substances, you know, like cannabis or marijuana, they can be abused as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to use them as the plant medicines that they are.
That they are, to teach yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And and any of these things can get away from us. Alcohol, sugar's probably the worst one.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad with my sugar. I like drinking the monsters too.
Yeah.
I think too, with cannabis, what I like to do is I'll listen to a podcast, really super baked, or I watch a perfect example. I talked about the last time we did a podcast, Ghost in the Shell, the movie.
Yeah.
I've watched that about 40 times. 20 of those times I was super baked.
Yeah.
I watch the movie and I have these thoughts that I wouldn't have while sober. I watch it again and then they come back to me and then I can think about them in a more stable state of consciousness, and I can acknowledge them and go, okay, this makes sense if I think of it in this way, and it solidifies. I think if you use these substances, you have the experience, you learn, and then you go back to that original state of consciousness that you're normally in, I guess, and then you allow it to affect you, and then it changes you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important way to do it, and moderation in moderation.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got to be careful. You just got to be careful because these things, any of these things, sugar, alcohol, any prescription medication, how you can make plants and a plant and a mushroom illegal is a bit silly.
It's a bit silly.
But anyway.
And DMT, it's stored in all human bodies.
Yeah. It's also, there's cannabinoids in your body as well, you know what I mean? So everyone's carrying. I think Terence McKenna used to say that,
Yeah.
Everyone needs to go to jail. 'cause
Everyone should go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have a weed plant that somehow grows in your backyard, you get arrested.
Yeah.
Not that it will, but if it did, it's a natural growing plant. If it somehow you had a plant grow in the backyard, cops found it, you're done.
Yeah.
You didn't purposely grow it.
Fortunately, the world seems to be waking up to the abilities of
slowly but steadily.
Yeah.
Slowly but steadily, and it will get there. We'll get there.
Absolutely. So, what else you got there, mate? You got anything else?
I think we've covered plenty. I think we've done all right. I think everything that I wanted to cover and I wanted to express to you, I think we have.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, this has been really cool. I think what we need to do, because we're obviously talking about questioning consciousness and evolving consciousness, and there's 3 books to your right there next to the Kokoda book, mate. Warrior books.
Yeah.
What I want you to do is lean over, choose whichever book speaks to you, the Warrior books, whichever one speaks to you. Okay. Now, close your eyes, open it up to a page, and what does it say?
Perceive things that are not obvious. That's the first thing that stuck out to me.
Is that not what we've been talking about?
That's what we've been talking about
the whole time.
Page 86. Perceive things that are not obvious. Miyamoto Musashi.
Yeah, the Book of 5 Rings. That's a really good one. What's the other page say?
Every action we take, everything we do is either a victory or a defeat in the struggle to become what we want to be. Again, exactly what we're talking about.
Man, those books are magic.
That is incredible.
That is, out of those 3 books, everyone grabs a different one and it encapsulates everything. Look, I think the takeaway, and this is actually a really good conversation, man. I really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's a good experience to come. I love coming out to the refinery and talking about these topics.
No, it's awesome, man. You're welcome anytime. I think the thing is, guys, for the listeners out there, is that just got a question. Okay, so you got to question your consciousness.
Question who we are.
Question who we are. Question who you are. Purpose, passion, projects, things that make you better.
Positivity.
What are you doing for yourself? These are the core things that we've actually talked about on this podcast a lot. However, they deserve to be repeated over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're important.
They're very important.
Have you got anything else, mate?
No, that's about it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me over here to talk about this. I think it's a good thing to think of these ideas and think of these concepts and express them to someone and gain feedback to
absolutely. That's
further
the way
your
you
understanding.
do it. That's the way
expand evolve your consciousness.
Yeah. All right, mate. Well, look, thanks very much, everyone. Look after yourselves. Be cool. Thanks for coming out, Reagan.
That's all right. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Good on you guys. We'll talk soon. Cheers.
Have I burned out? Have I blackened the ground? Will I fight back, find my strength again? Days have been gold, tomorrow losing their shine. Will I give up? I doubt it. I never turn to bottle to wash away the demons in my mind. I stood up and knocked them down. Though I had a struggle till I seen the colored eyes of the kind. Now they have built me up. I've always had the answer. I'm not one to self-destruct. There's too many smiles that I love. And when my world comes crashing down, I get right back up. I take the brunt, I walk out of the road. Have I burned out? Have I blackened the ground? Will I fight back, find my strength again? Days have been gold, but tomorrow losing their shine. Will I give up? I doubt it. wash away the demons in my mind. I stood up and knocked them down. And if you wanna take me out, you need more than both your barrels to shoot me down. 'Cause now I am tough. Have I burned out? Have I blackened the ground? Will I fight back, find my strength again? Days have been gold, but tomorrow losing their shine. Will I give up? I doubt it. Will I give up? I doubt it. Will I give it all?